The history of highway funding is interesting. It's number one, it's interesting because, relatively speaking, it's a brief history. Back in the late 1800s, highways were used for bicycle and horse-drawn transportation. But with the advent of the automobile in the early 1900s, we began to look at the first necessity for finding a basis to fund our highways. Well, I guess one of the more interesting little tidbits of history, and that's back in the 1800s when the Assembly was exploring ways to fund highway construction and maintenance. There was a law, and I don't know exactly how long it was in effect, but every able-bodied male between the ages of, I think, 21 and 45 or something like that had to contribute 5 days labor annually or the equivalent in money toward highway construction. One of the early plans on how to construct and maintain highways. Obviously it didn't work out too well, and with a bit of irony, back in 1911 was 100 years before I was sworn in as Speaker. My grandfather was sworn in as a young freshman legislator in 1911. And it was that session of the General Assembly that began the first association of what would be a user fee, a registration fee for automobiles. It became the basis for funding highways early on. The situation fluctuated basically up until the mid-1950s when then Governor Sid McMath, this was after World War II, when we had sort of a moratorium on highway construction in the state except for those corridors that were deemed essential to our national defense interest. Most of our highways are in a very deteriorated condition.
We're going to have to turn around now and face the future.
Governor McMath embarked on some very innovative legislation that basically is still the funding formula that we use in the present day, and that was a fuel consumption tax.